Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are coming across my video for the first time, you are highly welcome. In today's tutorial, I'll be learning how to make this trendy Ankara baggy crop top, and I'll be making use of this African print fabric. Let's get straight into the video. So I have my fabric folded into 4 because I'm going to be cutting both the front and the back together. So the first thing I'll be doing is to mark out the width of my shoulder, which is half of my shoulder measurement, and I'll also mark my chest line. So I'll connect these points together. So I'm going to mark out the shoulder slant, which is 1 inch. I'll be using 1 inch for both the front and the back, and I'll mark the width of the neckline, which is 3 inches. I'm using 3 inches by 1 inch for the back neckline, while for the front neckline I'll be using 3 inches by 3.5 for the front neckline. So I'm going to connect this point from the neck width to the shoulder. I'm going to connect it to the shoulder slant. Then at the front I came down by 4.5 and I went in by ½ inch at the neck depth to create the V-shaped that the top has. So the next step for me is to create the armhole of this top, and I'm going to mark out from the 1 inch slant. I'm going to mark half of what I have at that point, and I'll go in by ½ inch and connect it to the shoulder. Then I'm going to mark out the exact bust circumference, and I'll mark it to meet the ½ inch I went in by. So that is how I created my armhole. At the bust circumference, I'm going to add extra 3 inches for ease allowance and the seam allowance. You can add 2 inches or 2.5 inches. It depends on how free you want the top to be. So I'm going to mark the same thing at the hem of this top. Whatever measurements I have at the bust circumference, I'll mark it at the hem, which is the length I'll be using for the top. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. Now I'm done cutting it out. I'm going to mark out the wrong side of the fabric so as to differentiate the right from the wrong side. Then I'm going to separate the front from the back, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the front. Note that I only cut out the back initially, so now I'm going to cut out the front neckline that I marked. So this is what it looks like after cutting the neckline, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the facing for the neckline. So this is the fabric I'll be using for the facing, and I have it folded into 2. So I'm going to go ahead and place the front piece on this piece of fabric to cut out the facing. I'm going to place the folded part on the folded part of the front piece. So I'm going to mark it out I'm going to trace the neckline on the fabric I'll be using for the facing. It does not have to get to the end of the shoulder. If it gets like 2 or 3 inches, it is just fine. So I'm going to place it out and cut it out exactly what I have on the neckline. So at this point, I'm just going to come down from the neckline by maybe 3 or 4 inches and connect to the shoulder to give it that shape, to give the facing a kind of shape. You can make it a 4-corner shape, any shape you want, but this is the shape I want the facing to have. So after cutting the facing, I'm going to go ahead and add interfacing to the facing. This is very important to always add interfacing to your facing. So I'm going to be using cotton SD for this. For the back neckline, I've cut out a strip of fabric to turn the back neckline. So now I've gone ahead to turn the back neckline with a strip of fabric, and I've also gone ahead to turn the neckline for the front with my facing. And I also went ahead to add hemming gum to the facing so it lays well on the front piece. Now at this front area, I didn't add cotton SD or any form of interfacing to this front. The neckline is going to be gaping, it's going to be falling out, but can you see the way it sits in place now? That is one of the advantages of adding interfacing to your facing. So now I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulder and the sides. I'm going to join the side by ½ inch. So now I'm done joining the shoulders, and I've also joined both sides. Then I'm going to take my measuring tape and mark out what I have at the armhole. I'm going to mark out both sides. So this is what's going to determine what I'm going to mark out on my sleeve. So now let's go ahead and draft the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I have my fabric folded into 4. and I'll be using the width of 13 inches. You can make use of 14 or 15 depending on how wide you want the sleeve to be or the client you're working with. And the length of the sleeve I have here is 20 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out what I measured on the armhole earlier. I'm going to mark it out at this point. Then after marking it out, I'm going to mark out the cap's height for this sleeve. After marking out the caps, and I'm going to connect these points together. Then I'm going to connect from the top of the sleeve to the point of the cap's height. I'm going to create this slanted line to be able to create my sleeve. Now at this point, I'm going to mark out ½ inch of what I have here and go up by half. Then I'm going to connect it to the top, then connect it back to the armhole area. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my sleeve. And I'm going to mark out what I have here to be sure that I have my exact measurements plus the allowance for what I'll be fixing to the sleeve area. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it and cut it out to the end point. So that is all for the sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and join the sleeves by the side. I'll join them by ½ inch. Then I'll go ahead and fix the sleeve to the top. So that brings us to the end of this video. If you would like to see a tutorial of the jumbo pants, kindly click on the link in the description box below. If you enjoyed watching this video, kindly drop a like and a comment in the comment section, and also don't forget to share this video too. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.